The dark mark glowed faintly in the night sky, a sinister beacon that marked the beginning of one of the most harrowing periods in wizarding history. The Death Eaters, a name whispered with dread, were not merely followers of Lord Voldemort. They were his instruments of terror, each bound by blood oaths, dark magic, and a shared ideology of supremacy. Their tale is not just one of malevolence, but a complex tapestry woven with fear, ambition, loyalty, and betrayal. The origins of the Death Eaters can be traced back to Tom Riddle's days at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Charismatic and cunning, Riddle quickly surrounded himself with a group of students who shared his disdain for muggles and a thirst for power. These early followers, later known as the Knights of Walpurgis, laid the foundation for what would become the Death Eaters. Riddle's charm masked his cruelty, and his followers were enthralled by his vision of a pure-blooded wizarding world. To them, he was not just a leader, but a savior who promised to restore the glory of their kind. The transition from schoolyard plotting to full-scale terror came years later when Riddle re-emerged as Voldemort. By then, he had delved deeply into the dark arts, performing unspeakable acts to ensure his immortality. With each act, his appearance grew more inhuman, but his followers' loyalty only deepened. The promise of power, combined with his mastery of legilimency, bound them to him in ways they could scarcely resist. The Death Eaters' ideology centered on the superiority of pureblood witches and wizards. They believed Muggleborns, or Mudbloods, as they derogatorily called them, were unworthy of the magical gifts they possessed. Voldemort's hatred for Muggles was paradoxical, given his own half-blood status. However, he hid this truth from his followers, presenting himself as the epitome of pure-blood lineage. This lie fueled their campaigns of terror, and under his command, they launched attacks on Muggle communities, wizarding families deemed traitors, and anyone who opposed their regime. Their methods were as varied as they were horrifying. Torture, curses, and the unforgivable curses became their tools of choice. The Cruciatus Curse, capable of inflicting excruciating pain, was a favorite among their ranks. It was not uncommon for the Death Eaters to leave their victims alive but broken, a living testament to their cruelty. For those who dared resist, the killing curse, Avada Kedavra, ended lives in green flashes of light. However, their darkest weapon was the Imperious Curse, which stripped victims of their free will, turning them into puppets for the Death Eaters' nefarious schemes. The recruitment of Death Eaters was a meticulous process. Voldemort sought individuals with power, ambition, and a willingness to submit entirely to his will. Many were from old pureblood families like the Malfoys, Blacks, and Lestranges, who saw Voldemort as a means to secure their dominance. Others, like Severus Snape, joined for more personal reasons, drawn by promises of acceptance, power, or revenge. Loyalty was enforced through fear and magical means. The Dark Mark, a brand seared into their forearms, was both a badge of allegiance and a leash. It allowed Voldemort to summon them instantly, a constant reminder of their servitude. Within their ranks, a hierarchy existed. Bellatrix Lestrange, perhaps the most fanatical of Voldemort's followers, stood out for her unyielding devotion. She saw herself as Voldemort's chosen and reveled in carrying out his orders. Lucius Malfoy, while less zealous, wielded influence and wealth to further the Death Eaters' cause. Others, like Fenrir Greyback, brought unique talents to the group. Greyback, a werewolf, served as a living weapon, terrorizing communities and spreading his affliction to intimidate and recruit. The First Wizarding War marked the height of the Death Eaters' power. The Ministry of Magic struggled to contain their attacks, and fear gripped the wizarding world. Voldemort's rise seemed unstoppable until a prophecy, foretold his downfall. This prophecy, overheard by Snape and reported to Voldemort, set the stage for his first defeat. In his quest to eliminate the child mentioned in the prophecy, Voldemort targeted Harry Potter. However, his attempt to kill the infant backfired, and the curse rebounded, destroying his physical form. With Voldemort's fall, the Death Eaters were left leaderless. Many were captured and imprisoned in Azkaban, the wizarding prison guarded by Dementors. Others, like the Malfoys, claimed they had been coerced or acted under the Imperious Curse. This allowed them to escape punishment, but the stigma of their association lingered. A few, like Bellatrix Lestrange, remained fiercely loyal, awaiting their master's return. The interwar years saw the Death Eaters scattered and disorganized. However, their ideology persisted, festering in the shadows. Voldemort's return, announced by Harry Potter during the Triwizard Tournament, marked the beginning of the Second Wizarding War. This time, Voldemort's approach was more strategic. He infiltrated the Ministry of Magic, spreading his influence and using propaganda to sow division. The Death Eaters, emboldened by his return, resumed their campaigns of terror with renewed vigor. The Second Wizarding War was marked by atrocities even greater than those of the first. The Death Eaters targeted not just individuals, but entire institutions. Hogwarts, once a sanctuary, became a battleground. The murder of Albus Dumbledore, orchestrated by Voldemort and carried out by Severus Snape under complex circumstances, signaled a turning point. With Dumbledore gone, Voldemort tightened his grip on the wizarding world. Despite their power, the Death Eaters faced resistance. The Order of the Phoenix, led by members like Minerva McGonagall, Kingsley Shacklebolt, and Remus Lupin, opposed them at every turn. The bravery of individuals like Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Ron Weasley inspired hope. The final battle at Hogwarts saw the ultimate defeat of Voldemort and the disbandment of the Death Eaters. In the years following Voldemort's death, the wizarding world struggled to heal. The Death Eaters' legacy remained a dark stain, a reminder of the dangers of prejudice and unchecked power. Many former Death Eaters faced trials, while others lived in hiding, haunted by their actions. The scars they left, both literal and figurative, served as a cautionary tale for future generations.